Hey, Barry Foster here, and welcome back to A-League to the UK. This is episode number 15 in the Football Manager 2021 save, starting off with the Newcastle Jets in the Australian A-League. And since we last saw you, we've played 3 more games offline, and we've done fairly well. We beat Melbourne Victory at home to 2-0 with goals from Petratos and Sumau. We then travelled to New Zealand, and we played the Wellington Phoenix in Christchurch at Rugby League Park. Now, Wellington Phoenix normally play in Wellington, but they were playing this game down in Christchurch on the South Island, and we had an excellent 4-1 victory there with Costa Petratos scoring a brace, Valentino Yule and Harry Clark with the other 2 goals. And then in the third game, we went back to Sydney and we played Macarthur FC, and we had a very good 2-0 victory there with Jake Brimmer and Matthew Miller getting on the scoring sheet. But it was that game in Christchurch that really was quite a good game for the Newcastle Jets. And we'll have a look at the goals because they really were quite good goals to see, because the opening goal came in the very first minute of the match. We didn't have long to wait for the scoring to start, and it was Brimmer putting a beautiful ball through to Petratos, who finished it very decisively, and that got the Newcastle Jets off to a flyer. But we only had to wait about 5 minutes, and he got his second. Maybe a little bit fortunate because Miller came through. The defender does get a touch on the ball, but Petratos, he finished it off very well. And then Valentino Yule, who was a stand-in striker, great run from the halfway line, and he had a great finish. So he made it 3-0. And I was thinking, what's going on here? We're playing away from home. And then just before half-time, Wellington Phoenix did get one back, and it was a very good goal. Piscopo with the goal for the Knicks, and that probably gave them a little bit of hope for the second half. But that was snuffed out when Clark got his, I think his first goal for the club. A very fine finishing. Of course, Clark is a loan player from Arsenal for the season, so that was really an excellent away victory. Unfortunately, it does come at a little bit of a cost, because we have lost Reece James, who plays at left back. He has a groin strain and will be out for maybe another 2 to 3 weeks. That's a little bit of a blow. We also had some injuries to Kai Fechner. I think he's going to be out for maybe 2 to 3 weeks as well. Although he is probably more of a bit of a backup, if anything. And Tate Yengi, he suffered torn abdominal muscle, and he's out for maybe 3 to 6 weeks. So there were a few injuries, but overall the boys were playing very, very well, which is really good to see. And of course, after 4 games, we actually have the Newcastle Jets sitting on top of the table with the Western Sydney Wanderers both on 12 points, followed by the Central Coast Mariners on 8 points, Melbourne City on 7, then comes Sydney FC, Brisbane Roar and Western United on 6. And what's really interesting is the Central Coast Mariners in 3rd position, because if you remember in the last video, we had a look at the pre-season preview, and it had Central Coast Mariners at 2,000 to 1 to win the Premier's Plate. And that is finished top of the table. They've slashed that to only 1,000 to 1, and I think we were 33 to 1 at the start of the season, and we're now 25 to 1, and we've moved up into possibly a 6th finish. But at the moment, both teams doing much better than that, with the Jets on top and the Mariners only 4 points behind. And this is a derby game, of course, remember. This is the big F3 derby between the Newcastle Jets and the Mariners. The F3 is, of course, a well-known freeway running between Sydney and Newcastle. But anyway, without further ado, let's go and play the Mariners at the Hunter Stadium. Okay, so this is the starting 11 for today's game. We've got Woods in goal, O'Toole, Clark and Donachie and Galloway across the back line. Wilson sitting behind Brimmer and Sykes in midfield. Petratos on the left, Miller on the right as usual, and Valentino Ewell. He will lead our attacking line once again. We've got Noah James as our reserve keeper. Aspro Potamaitis on the bench. Nick Ansell, he's coming back from injury. Adam Sherratt. He normally doesn't get a seat on the bench, but he has today. Jacob Melling, Ben Kantarowski and Jason Hoffman will wrap up the 7 players on the bench. So that's the team. Let's submit that, and yes, Adam Sherratt can have number 24, if you don't mind, and let's get to the match. And I think Alan Stasic will still be the manager at the Mariners, and I think he'll still have a fairly good starting 11. He does. Karem Bullitt, Oliver Bozanic, Joshua Nisbet and Quoll leading their attacking line. There's some very good players. And even in the back line, Jack Clisby and Stensness and Negro, they're quite good defenders. And Jerry Payton, he reckons, go out there and carry straight on from when you finished last match. Look, I'll back him on that. We've been playing pretty well. He can handle the tunnel interview as normal. And we might get a slightly better crowd in today, since this is a derby game. I think one of the ends will be packed full of Mariners fans from the Central Coast, which is just south of Newcastle. And of course it's a night fixture, as you can see. But let's get straight to the kickoff. And it's the Mariners getting us underway. Hopefully it'll be a fine night. Shouldn't be any rain around, I'd say. This is Nisbet, very good young player for the Mariners. Plays it long to Bullitt. That's going to be easy for Woods. I think it was. I thought he was going to make a mess of that. But anyway, that was the end of our opening highlight. Hopefully we'll get quite a few highlights in this match. Anyway, this is Ingram for the Mariners, but that's now Petratos. Can he link up with somebody out left or right? I think he's gone to Sykes. Plays it through for Ewell. And Ewell gets the opening goal, and we're only in the 4th minute. Well, this certainly surprises me, because Valentino Ewell, when we've got Stamatelopoulos and Sumau in the squad, he really never gets a look in, certainly not as a striker. He can play as striker, but that's his second goal. A second goal for the boy this season, so he's certainly making me think about him up front. But that's a good opening start for the home side. And this will be an easy one for Birgitti. That's an easy ball for Quoll. Not a very good pass, and this is O'Toole back to Woods. Woods has done very well in goal for us since coming to the club. He really has probably made that position his own. I can't see Jack Duncan displacing him when the season gets further underway. But anyway, this is Galloway now. Plays it up to Miller. And he plays it long, looking for Ewell. Now back to Sykes. Sykes, the new playmaker. Not a great ball, but that was a terrible pass. And Petratos has made them pay, and that's 2-0 to the Jets. And we're not even 10 minutes into the game, and the Mariners have really given themselves a mountain to climb. Well, that was a shocking pass in defence. I mean, it wasn't a good ball by Sykes. That was pretty poor. But then Negro, Stensness just gave it to Petratos. Well, Petratos is certainly having a great opening start to the season too. He must be on 4 or 5 goals already. But anyway, O'Toole with the throw to Sykes. It's a nice ball through to Petratos. He had a go. He'll probably have another one. He did, but that was blocked. This is Galloway. Maybe get a cross in, maybe not. We'll have a corner. So this should be Bremer with the corner, and he'll probably go far post. It's headed away by Stensness. This is Petratos, end of our highlight. Bremer playing it through to Petratos. I wasn't expecting that pass. Oh, Miller. Was that Miller with a pretty good shot, and that was blocked by the keeper? For a split second I thought that was going to be goal number 3. But here we are, just over 15 minutes into the game, 2-0 to the Jets. So I'm not going to write off the Mariners because they've got some very good players. This is Negro. Now Ingram to Bozanic. Bozanic, ball out to Gianotta. Got a bit of space out here. We can get a cross in. That could be dangerous. And that's met by Karem Bullet, but he ballooned that one over the bar. We're having a bit of a wet day here in Sydney this morning. I'm recording this rather early in the morning. Normally I do recordings a bit later in the day. But at the moment, all the players seem to be playing fairly well. And this is Gianotta again for the Mariners. Bozanic to young Nisbet. Now this is Bullet. Poor pass, and now Miller. Can he maybe link up with Yule? No, he goes to Sykes. Good ball to Yule. Oh, that's all too easy. 3-0. Yule with a brace. And it all came about because of a very poor pass by, I think, Bullet. 2 good passes there, and that's a beautiful one to Yule, and the keeper just goes down a little bit too easily. He could have maybe, I think, made a better fist of trying to save that shot. But anyway, maybe about 15 minutes before the half-time whistle, and it's 3-0 to the Jets. And at the moment, I really can't see the Mariners getting back into this game at all. Only been 5 shots to 3, and the Mariners have had nearly 60% possession, so they've really squandered, I think, a lot of the ball. Certainly, some of the passing has been atrocious, I must admit, even for the A-League. But I think this is going to be the half-time position, 3-0. 2 minutes of added time. Everybody seems to be playing pretty well on the Jets side. And as you can see, only 5 shots to 4. Only 1 clear-cut chance. 4 corners to 0. That's interesting. Normally the other side gets at least 1 corner. Okay, Jerry, well, he's not recommending anything, so I think I better point the old finger and just tell them that I'm very pleased. Keep it going for the next 45 minutes. And Valentino Yule gets us underway, and this is Clark. Now out to O'Toole, who's getting his opportunity in the starting 11. Petratos playing it long for Miller. He got his head to the ball. This is Gianotta. I must admit, Petratos, he's turning into being a really good player for us. A little bit of a surprise. I wasn't too sure whether I should be keeping him or trying to move him on, but I'm glad that I've retained him because he's playing very well this season. Anyway, this is a throw for the Mariners. And this is Gianotta. Back to Neil. And he doesn't get his cross in. I think Miller will get to this first. Now, can he link up with Yule? Maybe a cut back on the cards here. No, yeah, across. Well, well, okay. Sykes making it number 4. I guess you'd have to say that's pretty sloppy defending by the Mariners. I mean, Miller got his cross in. In fact, I thought he was going to probably get a corner, but he gets his cross in. That's very sloppy defending. I must admit, I think that was a little bit all too easy when you see something like that. But anyway, it's 4-0. I'm not going to complain because there are going to be days or games where we're probably on the receiving end. So I'll take this. Thank you very much. And of course, don't forget, it is a derby game against our fiercest rival in the Central Coast Mariners. But they're certainly all playing extremely well. Brimmer's a little bit down. He's normally a very good player, so we might make our first substitution. And I think I'll bring on young Jacob Melling. He can get a run in that position instead of Brimmer. A lot of complacent-looking players on the bench, and I think I might also give Kantarovsky a run just behind our midfielders. He doesn't really get much of an opportunity there because Wilson has been playing so well since coming to the club. But anyway, this is Miller with the ball. This is Ewell. Back to Miller. Melling, well, I think he had that on target, but it was a good save by the keeper. I think that was goal bound for sure. Now Melling will take a corner. And he goes far post, and Donachie, well, he balloons that over the bar. Plenty of Mariners fans behind that goal. Quite a few have obviously travelled up the F3 from the Central Coast, but they'll be going home pretty disappointed, especially with the scoreline at 4-0. But I think we'll make maybe our final substitution with maybe around about 10 minutes to go, and I think I'd like to bring on Nick Ansell, even though he's looking a little bit complacent there on the bench. But I think I'll bring him on for maybe for Harry Clark, I think. Give Clark a bit of a rest. And Nick Ansell can get a run for the final maybe 12-odd minutes of this match. Of course, if Ansell hadn't been injured, he probably would have been in the starting 11 for most matches, but that injury opened the door for young Clark, and Clark has done very well since coming into the starting 11. But this has been an excellent, another excellent game by the Newcastle Jets. 4-0. Unbelievable. I normally don't have this sort of start in Football Manager. I'm still trying to work out, is it Football Manager 2021 an easy game to play, or am I just playing it well this time? I'm still out to lunch on that. But anyway, this is Bozanic. Another poor pass by a Central Coast Mariners player, but that's it, 4-0. So an excellent derby result for the Newcastle players, and as you can see, only 9 shots to 6, only 1 clear-cut chance, and the Mariners still had more possession. But overall, the Jets dominated the game. Very good XG, and a lot of players there with a rating above 7. And so it was an extremely good team performance. Sykes on 8.4, Ewell on 8. That's really good to see. And I think Jerry will say, a good win, boys, well done. Well, you can't argue with that. It was an excellent win. You can do the old interview after the game. And in the other match today, goals aplenty, 4-4 between Western Sydney Wanderers and the Wellington Phoenix. And as you can see, it puts Newcastle Jets on top all by themselves on 15 points, with the Wanderers on 13 and the Mariners still holding third position on 8 points. Okay, so Melling gets one over on the Central Coast Mariners. That's right, he is a former Mariners player. Stasic reacts to controversy. What's this? After a refereeing performance that will generate plenty of discussion, how do you think it will? How do you think it reflects on the standards of officiating in Australia? And he says, "Are you trying to put words in my mouth?" I don't know. I thought the ref had a pretty good game. Okay, Sykes on form as Newcastle Jets score an easy victory. 1 goal, 2 assists and an average rating of 8.4, 4 key passes. He had an excellent game, and of course he is our playmaker. And I'll have to give him a pat on the back for that. The press conference, look, we'll do that offline because they're not all that really exciting. So let's look at our schedule coming up. Okay, in the next game we've got 3 home games in a row, Brisbane Roar, Sydney FC and then Adelaide United. And then we're away to Perth Glory. So what I think I'll do, we'll play those 4 games offline and then we'll come back for the Western United game. That's also an away game. Western United, of course, is the third team from Melbourne, and they're playing at the GMHBA Stadium, which is actually in the city of Geelong, slightly southwest of Melbourne. So that's the video for today. Another very good 4-0 victory for the Newcastle Jets. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm Barry Foster. Until next time, it's goodbye from me.